Okay guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be looking at a project car setup driving the BMW Z4 GT3 at Monza. So we took a fair bit of time to get our force feedback to where we wanted it, and we still haven't. I still haven't got it where I like. It's totally different to the PS4 version in terms of force feedback. I'm guessing you'll be able to get them identical, but the sliders are different. They feel different when you put them in different values. So it's going to take a bit of time. But I managed to get an okay feeling for the force feedback on the PC. And managed to get the top time with the BMW Z4 GT3 around Monza on the PC leaderboard. As on the PC you have separate leaderboards for individual cars, which is so much better. So I'm going to go through the lap. Obviously there, breaking down for the first chicane there, we were breaking down on the 150 and trying to take that chicane nicely, using some of the curbs to get ourselves maximum speed coming out of the chicane. Now we're going to approach the next chicane where we're going to use that bridge as a braking point there. We're going to brake just before it, going down into second gear, and you want to hit the apex of that curb really nicely. You don't want to take too much curb on them corners though, it will slow you down, so you just take the curbs nicely, not too much that it'll bounce the car. Going into the first lesmo, we're going to go down into third gear, hard on the accelerator as we come out, and then into fourth gear before going back down to third gear for the second part of the lesmo. Hard on the throttle again. We got a bit of twitch on that exit, lost maybe a tenth on acceleration going into the next chicane up ahead, but it was only a tenth really there. The main error came at the end of the lap, which this setup was a very brief setup. We'll go through the reasons why after the lap has finished, but braking just before the bridge again there, going down into third gear, using some of the curb on the left, trying to keep it nice and smooth, not too much curb. You don't want to unsettle the car going through this fast chicane, I'll say, for that corner. Going into the next long right hander. Now this is a tricky braking zone. This is where I think I needed to adjust the setup, as you'll see in a minute. We lost about 3 attempts here, I'd say, where we braked just on the 100. We're going down. I think we braked a little bit late. Going down into third gear, we lost the back end slightly. Maybe I should have more front bias and a little bit more support on the differential for the braking, but we managed to hold it together and kept the car together just about, going over the line for a 1:43.6, which is the top time on the PC leaderboard. But I'm guessing we'll be able to get this lap pretty close to a 42.9, maybe a 43.0. It would just take a bit more setup work, as this was just this very quick setup put together, which I'm going to show you now. So we're going to quickly run through the setup. There's a few things that I would like to point out just that you might want to change. Is running the tyre pressures felt okay, but I would say when you're coming through to, I'm just going to let the video play with the setup in the background, but when you come through to the differential, I would consider altering the deceleration differential up to at least 65 to 70. Have a little play and see if it helps out with the braking. Also, brake bias, I would consider going maybe 66. I had it on 65 for that lap, as you've seen as on the in-car dash 65 and on the setup 65. But I think maybe it felt good for the first part, but for that last corner I'd consider going up to 66, because it's a corner that you're really chucking the car in with high speed, so it might be a bit better to go with a slightly more front bias just to steady that rear end out a bit, because there's a bump that will catch you out otherwise on that corner. So we'd consider going up to 66, maybe 67 on the brake bias there, and maybe have a little look at the acceleration differential. I think it was on 25, I think, on that lap. Maybe consider lowering it down 1 or 2. If you want a bit more, go a bit higher, but I'd probably have a little look at, if I was fine-tuning this setup, this would be good as a base setup, but I think if I was going to do a league race, I'd do some fine-tuning to the setup on the differential settings. Maybe, like I say, this deceleration having extra, and on the acceleration having a little less maybe. The preload felt okay, no issues with the preload. I mean, you could go slightly higher on the acceleration differential, but then up the preload to 60. That might be worth trying just to see if it's steady to rear end out a bit more, but you might lose a bit of exit speed. That's the only problem with that. We ran pretty much default on all the force feedback settings, as you'll see when we get to them in a minute. We didn't adjust anything on the force feedback, as I haven't touched the individual car force feedback. All I've touched so far is the presets for every car on the main menu, which is a bit of a struggle for myself at the moment compared to PS4. It's not feeling the same, but I've got it reasonably okay. Once I've got it where I want it to, I'll probably give you guys the PC feedback, which is totally different to the PS4. I don't recommend people if you're on PS4 and you're looking at people on PC and taking their settings and you've got a T500, try not to use their settings because it won't match. That is a little bit of advice I will give you, because I took my settings down from the PS4 and put them onto the PC, and it just felt lifeless. There was no force feedback at all. Needed a lot more adjustments. Anyway guys, I'm going to leave you with the replay from that lap, as you'll see now. I hope you enjoyed the lap. Hope the setup can help you out, get a bit faster, maybe get yourselves a bit more consistent. But bear in mind, you will need to take down the few adjustments that I think will be needed to fine tune the setup. Anyway guys, thanks for watching. Make sure you leave a like and a subscribe, and I'll try and get some more PC project car setups out very soon. Thanks again for watching.